There we go. That would be it. And this is a talk on self-love, finding peace, and mind care. If you are in the public group, I have, as I said, I have audios that can help you with these type of things. But I just wanted to come on here and do a live group call so that we could talk about these things together. I'm going to share for a little bit, and then I'm going to, you can raise your hands here in this webinar, and or you can ask questions on Facebook if you would like to. So I just wanted to be a little bit more interactive with you guys than I have been this far. Usually it's just by post or other things. I have a Tidy Mind Club. Some of you, I'm sure, have seen that advertised, but they get a lot more of these interactive calls that we do together. But I just wanted you guys to, the public group, to also be able to experience that as well. So let's get started, and I'm going to make that full screen so that you can see it better. Tidy Talk, self-love, finding peace, and mind care. We're going to start off by talking about self-love, and there is a common misunderstanding about what self-love is. We've heard a lot of people talk about, oh, you just need to love yourself more, you need to be do more things for yourself, and we start to think, oh, well, what is that? Like, what does self-care look like? I know how to take care of my children. I know how to take care of my aging parents. I know how to take care of my pets. I know how to take care of all these things. And I sit and I see what they need, and I make sure that they have what they need, but I'm not really taking the time out of my day to do that for me. And many times, like, we read articles and we're like, look, I really want to do this self-care thing or this self-love thing, but I don't even know where to start. And you'll see very generic information like, you know, take time for yourself, go watch a movie, go take a walk out in nature, go take an exercise class, go have a massage, go have a long relaxing bath. And while all those things are nice things that should be relaxing, if you have a mind that is all wound up and all upset about so many things, and you decide, okay, I'm going to take a day for myself and do some self-love and self-care, and you go try to take that walk out in the woods because you're trying to do something good for yourself, guess what? You're taking that mind with you. You can't escape yourself. You cannot escape this part of that voice that is chattering, that is upset, that is worried, that is frustrated, that is angry, that is mad at this person and mad at that person and mad at itself. That is going to go out into the woods with you. That's going to go onto the massage table with you. That's going to go to the movie theater with you. And you're not going to be able to actually enjoy the time you finally set aside for your own self-love and self-care. So a common misunderstanding is that it's outside, when it's really we have to start from the inside out instead of going at it from the outside in. We're saying, oh, I'll do all these nice things for my body, and I'll do something relaxing, I'll watch something, I'll put something calming in my ears. Bringing all those nice out things from the outside in, not going to work. You've got to go from the inside, and then you'll be able to, and once you get this part calm and quiet, then you might be able to enjoy some of these things. If this part of you is loud and chattering in the background and upset at this person and that person and upset at you, you're not going to be able to have space to enjoy anything. You could have like the most incredible life. You know, you've built this amazing life for yourself. You're so blessed. You have so many things. Like, I've heard Valerie talk about this too. It's like, who am I to be upset? Why can't I enjoy this? Like, I have everything. Like, I cannot complain. This is why. It's not the outside that creates the experience. If we've got all of these things, sure, they would be great. Like, they would definitely make life much more enjoyable than if you didn't have them in your experience. But it's not going to make a lick of difference if you don't have this part, if you haven't done your inside work, you're not going to be able to enjoy that life that you've created for yourself at all. So self-love and self-care is an inside job. And why is it important? It is important, well, I would say mainly for times like these in our history, the state that the world is in right now, times like these. If you already know how to care for this part of you, when it starts, viewing all the stuff that's going on around it, you can say, hey, you know what? We don't have to go. Yes, it's a frightening time. Yes, it's an uncertain time, but I'm here for you. And you've already built this trust. You've already built up your trust in your God room or whatever your belief is in. You've already been working on all of that before the crisis happened. You've already got a handle on it. And as soon as that little part of you says, hey, I'm scared, like this looks a bit uncertain and looks like I don't know what's going to happen next week and I don't know who to listen to, you can say, you know what? I got it. I got you. I've got you. And God's got me. And I don't want to get like whatever your belief is, and you already have that trust established between you two, then times like these are going to be so much more manageable. Now, if you're listening to me right now and you're like, Angie, I didn't, I haven't been doing all this, or maybe I have been going to therapy, but I've never heard it put quite like that. I haven't done the work. I don't have the trust built. I don't even know what you're talking about. Who's trusting who? Like who's caring for who? I don't know this stuff. And that's not the state I'm in. And I am very afraid. So what I would like you to do is just take a deep breath with me and say, you know what? It's okay. It's okay that I haven't already been doing the work. And it's okay that I am here where I am right now. And it's okay that some part of me, even though it's a very quiet part of me, led me to this webinar right now. And it's taking me in baby steps to get to that point where I do build the trust, where I do build that relationship, where I do know how to care for myself, where I do know how to care for my mind and how to keep it calm. So when a crisis or any problem, any situation comes up in my life, I am able to cope with it and do what needs to be done, and also feel like I'm being cared for, I'm being looked after, I'm being guided in the right direction to do the right things at the right time. You can rest and relax in that knowledge. So if you're not there yet, please don't be hard on yourself. You've got enough pressure on you right now. You've got enough tension. You may be trying to take care of your family. You may not have your job right now. You may be trying to just pull all the pieces together. Like, where's the money going to come from to eat? Like, everybody is in various degrees of challenge right now. So no matter where you are, I want you to know that there is a tool that can help you start to, I can't change what's happening, but we can change what's happening inside. And that will help you be able to cope with and manage what is happening on the outside. And then the more practice that you have at this, you're going to start to be that calming presence to other people. And now we're spreading calm and stability into a world that is so full of fear and so full of uncertainty. It was that way before this pandemic happened, but right now it's at an all-time high. And sometimes, one of my best friends said this to me. Sometimes, let's see if I can say it the right way. She used the analogy of a slingshot, and she said, when you get pulled back so far, that means you're just going to shoot forward even further. And so what she was saying was, the deeper you go and the more you're pulled back, and the scarier and the horrible and the darker you feel that it is, you're being pulled back further and further and further. But then there comes this breaking point. There comes this breakthrough. There comes this point where that's let go of, the tension is released, and as far as you were pulled back into the darkness, that's how far you're going to move forward into the light. So I love that analogy, Jen. If you're here, I don't know if you're listening or not. Maybe you'll listen to the replay. But I thank you so much for sharing that with me that day, because all of you may be here feeling like you're in the darkest, lowest place you have ever been. But I want to tell you that that doesn't last. That never lasts. It may seem like it lasts forever, but it can't last forever. It will change. It will reach the tipping point. And then as soon as it lets go, you're going to start to see things improve, improve, improve. And then we may just end up in a better world than we started with. I feel like I saw this meme the other day that said, I think the earth has sent us to our rooms to make us think about what we've done. And I think that's kind of true, where, more people are adopting pets. We all know, we've heard the studies about how healthy it is for us to be around animals, how much we learn from them, how much they're such great teachers of unconditional love. Many of you are spending time, like actual, not just time with your family, like quality time. Yes, it may be bringing up a lot of things to the surface that you've been shoving down and wanting to ignore and not wanting to acknowledge, but it's bringing it to the surface. And anything that's brought to the surface, that's brought to the light, can then heal. And then you can move forward in a better way. So yes, this is a scary, uncertain time, but there is good that will come from this. And I think that we are now coming to a place where we did reach a point where we needed to be like, stop. What are we doing? What kind of life are we living? And now we're stuck in our houses, literally, to think about, to self-reflect, to go inward, to be able to have time to do work like this. So I want you to take advantage of it. And where do we get started with this whole self-love thing and whole getting better thing? So self-love starts with mind or self-care. And as I said before, it is an inside job. So what self are we supposed to love? What on earth are you even talking about with this self? So there are two parts of the self. One part is referred to as the mind, and I have termed it DJ. So if you've heard me talk about that in other audios, that's just a name that I use for that chattering voice in your head. Or the little, sorry, let me move this around so I can see. Or the little self. This is your innocence, the part of you that craves love, acceptance, protection, and safety. And if it can't get it, if it can't get it from you or an outside source, it will resort to games, tricks, and manipulation. It needs what it needs. And if it's not getting it, you're not listening, you're ignoring it, or it's trying, it doesn't give up on you, so it's trying to get it from someone else outside of itself. And if it can't get it, it will get really resourceful. It will get a little bit sneaky, and it will play those games. The second part of the self is referred to as the caretaker or the observer of the mind. There's lots of different, this isn't new, like this is just the words that I'm putting it in. I believe you've all heard of the id, the ego, and the superego. If you haven't, that's for you people who've studied psychology. That's basically, I'm talking about it in two parts, but this is old stuff that I'm talking about right here. So I just break it down into, and I like to use my fingers or my hands to show the difference. But you've got this little part of you you could look at it as a younger version of you, that child self that was super impressionable, that just took on anything and everything anyone said to it as truth, and it stored it away in what we call the subconscious mind or the hard drive. I like to refer to that. But it's got all of your stored beliefs, and it needs cared for. And it also, depending on what kind of stored beliefs it's got in there, if it's got a bunch of lies and misunderstandings, which most of ours do, if you've got unwanted behaviors, you've got some lies and misunderstandings in there. So it needs help to be able to let go and to clear up. First, let go of the pain that was caused by those lies and misunderstandings. And then two, to clear up those lies and misunderstandings. But that cannot happen until the caretaker steps in and introduces itself, and this is you also, to say, hey, like I'm the logical adult version of you. And I try to tell you all the time through positive affirmations or the meditations I do or the books that I read. I'm constantly trying to tell you these things, but it's not sinking in. It's not sinking in. And there's a reason for that. There's a reason why you can't just put an affirmation or some mantra on your, I'm not saying it doesn't help at all. I'm just saying that there's a reason that you're sticking that on your mirror and you're reading it every day and you're trying to program that in, and you're trying to program the wrong part. Because the part we need to actually listen to that and believe that is this little DJ part. And for it to listen, it needs to trust first. Well, two things it needs to happen. First, it needs to release the pain. You need to give it complete permission to release the pain that it experienced when that lie was inserted into its hard drive. And then that will help to create trust between you two, because you're like, I'm not going to guilt you and shame you and call you names and try to just tell you to shut up and stop talking to me, and I'm not listening to this, and I'm going to read my positive affirmation and this isn't true, I'm just going to keep focusing on this. You stop that and you're like, look, this isn't working. Like, just trying to speak logic to you is not working. I need to stop and first help you release the pain that you're holding on to. So the trust is established with the caretaker. So the two different parts, this is all about self-love, and this is how we do it. It's not a massage. It's saying, hey, what is going on inside my head? What is the voice inside my head saying? Let me stop hating it. Let me stop, I'm trying to do my meditation now. I'm trying to be all spiritual now, and my mind just will not stop talking to me. We have to stop that. Like that's not the point of meditation, to push that part away. The point of meditation is to go inward and to actually listen to what the chattering mind is saying, which we think, oh, it's interrupting me from my practice. If I was as spiritual as I was supposed to be, I'd be able to do this and my mind would be completely quiet. Well, that's true after you learn how to care for it. But if you've never learned how to care for it first, it doesn't matter how much meditation that you do, you're not going to be able to connect like you want to, because this part is still trying to get your attention because it is hurting. It is hurting and you're ignoring it. And now it's time to stop ignoring it. Okay, let's see. All right. Well, there we go. What happens if the two selves are at war? That is what I was just talking about. When we're wanting to do it, the caretaker is wanting to do it without involving this little part of itself. I've been to therapy. I've explored all this before. I'm sure it's released. I'm sure it's fine now. I'm sure it's all good, but yet you're still having unwanted behaviors. Guess what? You didn't release it. If you're still having things that you are doing to try to make yourself feel better, you want to stop them, but you can't seem to stop them. They're not healthy for you, and you know that, and you continue to do it. Guess what? You didn't deal with it. You may have talked about it. You may have talked about it till you're blue in the face. You may have journaled about it. You may have prayed about it. You may have done all these things, but there's still a part of this little self that is still hurting about this, that does not have closure. It is not finished in its mind. It's not over. It's still happening, and it still hurts. So until that happens, until that release happens, those unwanted behaviors are going to continue. So what happens when these two selves are at war and you're like, it's fine, and it's not really fine, and you just ignore it? and you're telling it to just stop talking to you, and then this part's calling you names. So you're at war inside your mind. And I know for all of you that this is new to, you're like, this sounds like a schizophrenic. Like, what are we talking about here? Like, we're talking about voices in our head and talking back and forth. So the way that I explain it is just an analogy to help you kind of step outside and see what is going on inside your mind. This does not make you have a mental diagnosis. This is saying, okay, if I can separate it out and look at it in these two parts, then I can manage it, then I can help it, and then I can help myself. So what happens if they're at war and you're ignoring it is DJ or the little self will act out. Just like any child that's not getting the attention, not feeling loved, not feeling whatever it needs to feel, not being heard, nobody took the time to ask it what it needs, it's going to act out. If and when the part of the self we call the mind feels unloved, unaccepted, hated, rejected, blamed, attacked, etc., unwanted behaviors are created. DJ creates unwanted behaviors at an attempt to feel better. DJ also learns to treat you, the observer, in the same way it is being treated. If the voice of your mind is critical or attacks you or bullies you, it learned that behavior from someone else. I like to talk about that as, I call that echoes. So a lot of times you'll hear your voice in your mind playing an audio. You might do something, and I'll use this example in the session that I had today. Is the lady and her husband had bought a used car. It was kind of a dream car of his. It kind of fell in their lap. It all seemed very, very divine and very just amazing how it all happened. They bought it, and then right after they bought it, a light came on the that something needed to be fixed. And her mind went straight into, I knew this would happen. This is going to be a money pit. This was a bad idea. I should have known better. So that was the audio that started playing. And if you look back, you may have heard one of your parents, like that could have been the language that they used about something that was going on. And so it will echo kind of past conversations or past reactions that maybe your parents had, or a teacher had, or somebody that you looked up to had. And so it can use that then against you. And if you don't know what's happening, you'll fight back. It's like, oh, no, it was a good idea. And this part's like, nope, you should have never trusted this. And so you've got this inner conflict going on. So what I'm trying to help you see is when it does bully you or attack you, you're so dumb, you're just so stupid, I can't believe you did that. If it attacks, and there's several different ways your mind reacts to different things, we won't go into that, but if it attacks you, just know that it's probably mimicking the reaction of it learned that technique from someone else. So now it's using it on you, the caretaker. So your job as the caretaker is to not turn into the child and argue back with it and say, just stop talking. Like, no, I'm not listening to that. I am divinely created and loved. And like, no, stop. Like, listen to what it's saying and say, you know what? I see you. And you're scared right now. DJ's always, if it's acting out in any way, it's scared it's not going to get its needs met. You're scared right now. I get that. I'm hearing you. And I know you're calling me names just because this is how our dad did things. This is how our mom did things. And this is the only way you know how to handle this right now. And I know you need something. And I'm not going to take it personally. I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you through this right now. So this is how we start to become the caretaker and start to love this voice that seems so annoying at first and that we just want to flip the off switch on. But this voice needs us. This is another aspect of ourselves that needs attention. It needs to feel loved, and maybe it never did. Maybe it's got a feeling of being unwanted, being hated, rejected. Maybe it's felt blamed for everything its whole life. Maybe it's felt like it's been the one that's had all these high expectations put on it. It always had to do the right thing. It got compared to its brother or sister. it, whatever it is, a gazillion things out there that could be programmed here that your little DJ might need help with, and you are the one to help it. You are actually the only one to help it. You and the source of your faith, the source of your belief. That's it. This is a relationship that it does not include, you may be sitting there waiting on other people to fix this for you. That's your job to make me feel better. You're supposed to do your part in this relationship. You're supposed to calm me down. You're supposed to know the right thing to say. If you loved me, you would do this. If you loved me, you wouldn't do that. No, this is your responsibility and yours alone to care for this part of you that's upset. That is no one else can actually do it, because they're in their own situation where they need to work with their own self, build their own faith, do their own work to be able to come to a place of calm and relaxed. So this is your responsibility, and you take that responsibility and say, it's not up to something outside of me to make me feel better. What is an unwanted behavior? Let's talk about that, and talking about looking outside for something to make us feel better. Sometimes we can look to other people for that, and sometimes we can look to things and substances. Oops. Let's see if I can go back. Okay, so an unwanted behavior is when you are self-medicating for immediate but temporary relief. You will create an unwanted behavior. So you can use this food to make you feel better. So the part of you that's wanting to feel better is this hurt part that is getting ignored by the caretaker, or the caretaker just doesn't have the tools yet, which you're here learning. And it says, okay, this isn't going to make me feel better. This is going to calm me down and listen to me. I'm going to go find something that will. Okay, well, when I eat food, that makes me feel better for just a little bit. I'm just going to go do that. Or when, sometimes when I have a drink at night after a long day, that makes me feel better. Or some people go to drugs to make them feel better. Some people use shopping. Some people use relationships and seeking love. So there's a lot of outside things, that the mind goes searching for to make itself feel better. When, as I said, that is not its job. And those things, if you read that, it can't do it. Like, it actually can't do it. Like, it can't fix this part of you. It can't love this part of you. It can't, not in the way that is required. So this is an inside job of you, the caretaker, and of your faith that then backs up the caretaker. So it's you three. You three and you three alone are going to be able to handle this. Yes, you can listen to, you can get help from the outside. You can listen to self-help books. You can read your Bible. You can do whatever brings you, helps you understand your mind and how to care for it. But you have to do the work. You have to be the one. You're the only one that can do it, because nobody else knows what's going on in here but you. You can go to a therapist. You can tell them what this is saying, but it's you that is walking around with it in real time. So unless you've got somebody like me or a therapist or somebody else walking around with you every second of the day to take care of this part of you, like it's not going to work. So you are there with it 24/7. You can't be separated from it. And I know a lot of you are like, yeah, there are some days I wish I could be separated from it, but I can't. So you're there with it. Perfect opportunity to be its 24/7 caretaker. So I want you to just ask yourself a few questions. Is your DJ or your little self, is it self-medicating? It's a pretty simple question. Is it using something, whether that's a person, a substance, even Netflix? Like, you can distract yourself enough to ignore this part of you that's asking for help. What are you using? What are you using to make yourself feel better? Second question is, what does it use? What is your unwanted behavior? And then ask yourself, now, now that I see what's happening, I've got a little bit of clarity. Angie, I don't understand everything you've been talking about, and you've been rattling on for a while now, and it's a lot of information, and I hear you, but I'm not exactly sure how to apply it, and that's all fine. But what I want you to ask yourself right now is, what does your DJ want or need most that it was unable to receive as a child? What is it just always, it's been trying so hard for so long to get this thing? And usually it's the love of another person. And you have to ask yourself, well, what does that look like to you? What does love look like to you? Well, it's if they would, give me a hug, or if they would tell me I'm right once in a while, or if they would tell me that I'm smart, or if they would just make me a priority, make me important. I also want to mention, if you haven't taken the health type test, we want to put a link there for you. This will help you understand who you are genetically, because all of our DJs have some tendencies that just go along with being in the body shape that you are. And it can tell you a lot about, what your DJ needs to feel loved, or what it needs to feel good about itself, or what it's good at, or how your mind thinks. So really take some time out too and check out that health type test that PH360 has put out. It's very, very helpful. So your mind will need something, and you need to really explore, like, what does that look like to you? And that's, I think, one of the biggest mistakes that we as parents make, is that we have an idea of what love looks like. And so we try to give that to our kids, and we never stop to ask them, say, hey, what is it that I do that, or don't do? Like, what is it that I do that makes you feel like I love you? Like, when I do this, it makes you feel certain that I love you and that I'll always love you. What is it that I do that makes you feel like that? And you may be so shocked at their answer. You'd be like, really? That's what love looks like to you? Like, for real? But it's true. Like, we all see it in such a different way. And if you don't know how your child sees it, or what it's expecting of you, and you're just doing it the way you would want to see it, it's like, yeah, it's the same as buying a Christmas gift for somebody. It's like, I'll just go pick out what I would like, and then you expect them to like the same thing. It's like, no, let's ask the person, what does that look like for you? How do you, because that's what we want to give them. We want to give them what they want, what they need. That's what this is about. This isn't about, us enjoying their present and saying, here, you can have this. This is what I would enjoy. No, we have to look outside and look at that person and say, what is it that you need? So, but in this instance, I want you to look inside and say, DJ, what does that look like to you? Well, when you listen, when I feel heard and I feel taken seriously, that goes a long way with me. When I feel like you're not just overlooking me, and I'm not just a joke, or I'm not just cute. Like, I'm speaking from personal experience here. Like, you're actually taking what I'm saying as a serious thing. That, I don't know, something about that makes me feel very, very heard. And in my language, that makes me feel loved and supported. So find out what that is for you. What is your DJ afraid of or threatened by? This is a very, very good question. So anytime this part of you is acting out, calling you names, doing any kind of unwanted behavior, it's scared. There's a fear in there. And we need to stop and say, wow, let's don't shame it for its bad behavior and chattering all the time and disturbing your meditation. Let's say, what are you afraid of right now that you've been talking in the background all day about, but I've been trying to be all spiritual and ignore you and not take care of you? Talk to me. Come to me. Like, we have to be able to offer this part of us that love, that unconditional love, that unconditional acceptance, so that it can begin to trust us and then begin to relax. And the last question is, have you ever tried to love and calm DJ? I'm not exactly sure what I was writing there, but have you ever tried that? Have you ever actually said, let me stop, being so hard on myself. Let me stop that for a second and actually have a two-way conversation. Have you ever tried that? I want you to start to make that your practice. That is a big part of the Tidy Mind process as we start. And I know I didn't talk about the house and the rooms today, but if you want to listen to a lot more content on that, you can go to YouTube, you can go to SoundCloud, you can go to Facebook, the Facebook group, Tidy Mind. You can, I'll get into that in just a little bit about all the ways that you can learn more about the house. But we're going to finish this right here. So learning to properly care for the little self, your mind will bring peace and end pain. So that is the whole point of any of this. That is the whole point of sitting here talking to you about this today, is to help bring in peace into your life, in the war that's going on inside, and end the pain. What kind of pain? Any kind of emotional pain, anxiety, depression, addictions, anger, abusive thoughts, and relationships, healing your relationships. And how do we end the war between the two selves? So maybe you're like, okay, I get it. Like what you're saying is making a lot of sense to me right now. But how do I've been doing this my whole life. How do I stop doing this? It's time to surrender. It's time to say, you know what? I'm done hating myself. I'm done being so hard on myself. I'm done judging myself. I'm done criticizing myself. I'm done arguing with myself. I'm done trying to change and pretending I've changed and faking that I've changed and lying to myself and denying and saying that I feel better when I actually don't. It's time to just stop, just cut it all out. Stop, take a really good look at yourself and say, you know what, I'm not okay, but that's all right. Like there's things, and I am hurt. I am hurt. I am angry at some people. I do feel this about that person. I actually do. I know I've been taught that that's not the right way to be. That's not mature. That's not this. That's not that. But if I'm actually just get really, really honest with myself, this is what I feel. This is what I feel. And when you can say that, and you can turn around then and say, and that's okay. I 1000% accept that about myself. Even though everything in me wants to fight and say, no, I can't accept that about myself because that makes me a bad person. That goes against this identity that I've been trying so hard to defend and protect and to prove. Spent so much time and energy proving to everybody else that I am this thing, and I actually don't feel this inside myself at all. But I've also been lying to myself saying I do. That takes so much energy and it's exhausting. And once you finally just admit it to yourself, you know, this is me. Some of the most calm, relaxed people you will ever meet is they're just so at peace with the light and the dark of themselves. They're just like, it's all there and it's all me. And I fought it for years maybe, and I stopped fighting it. And there it all is. This is what I feel. I'm honest with myself. And now that I started being honest with myself, you know what? I'm actually honest with more people in my life. I actually feel free to just say, you know, this is me. This is me. I'm not afraid to be me. I tried to be something else so everybody would love me. They didn't anyway. Like some of them said they did. And so it's just all been a lie. It's been such an exhausting experience to have to play this game. And once you surrender the game and you're just like, I'm not playing this anymore, this is me, the good, the bad, the ugly, the beautiful, the happy, the sad, the depressed, the anxious, the all of it. Just the whole big mixed bag of goodness. It's all me. And I'm going to love every bit of it. I'm going to love that me that sits on the couch and pigs out on Doritos at midnight. I'm going to love the me that wakes up in the morning and drinks a Mountain Dew. I'm going to love I'm going to love every part of that. Now, I'm not saying that I don't want to change some of those things. I'm not saying that there's not a better way to be. What I'm now saying is I want to do that authentically. I want to stop faking it. I want to embrace that part of me that part of me that wants to that unwanted behavior, that part of me that sneaks and hides to go smoke a cigarette, that part of me that whatever the unwanted behavior is, I'm going to love it. I'm going to love every inch of it. I'm not just going to love it, I'm going to embrace it. And I'm going to care for it. And when that part of you then starts to feel loved instead of judged and pushed away, guess what? Anything that starts to feel loved in your presence, what does it do? There's just like such a release, such a relief. If you got people in your life that won't come around you, I guarantee you, like you love them and you're constantly trying to help them, but they just won't, they just like keep their distance, is because they feel so uptight and so judged because you're pushing so hard for them to change and you're not accepting them. You're not embracing every single thing about them. So they're tense and they're tight. But once you finally say, you know what, come in here, get in here. I don't care that you smoke the cigarette. I don't care that you do all the things that I think you shouldn't do. I don't care anymore. Come here. Let me show you what unconditional love and acceptance looks like. They're like, what? Like, you're going to give this to me and I don't have to meet your conditions? You're just going to give it to me? Wow. That changes every kind of relationship. So what I'm asking you to do is do that for yourself first. Let yourself off the hook right now. Maybe I'm talking to a lot of different people, a lot of different audiences. Maybe you don't do your meditations daily. Oh my God. Maybe you haven't read your Bible today. Oh goodness. Like, give yourself a break. Let yourself off the hook. Stop trying to hold this model of perfection. Be you. We're not perfect, but we're okay. We're not broken. Like, we just are. And we do have this part of us that needs this unconditional love. And then naturally, when it starts to feel that from you, those unwanted behaviors are going to start to dissolve. And it's not going to be hard like it is if you don't do this first. So don't, now this is like, read this, don't deal with your DJ, your little self, the way your parents dealt with you. Now, some of you had amazing childhoods. Now, I am not downing parents. The job of a parent is hard. It is not an easy job at all. And I am probably over time. I don't have a clock here, but I've been rambling a long time. If you got to go, you got to go. You can watch the replay. So a lot of you had really amazing parents, and some of you didn't. Some of you didn't. Everybody, well, most parents are trying to do their best, but we're so impressionable when we're little that it's so super easy to impress that little DJ's hard drive with something that's going to hurt it later on in life. It just really is. So as careful as you can be, you can still cause some things for your children that then they'll have to, because it's going through their little filter and they may not have understood exactly the way you said it, or maybe they're help type we call an activator, and they go off the tone of voice more than they go off of what you say or your facial expression. And so they took it to mean something totally different than what you said. So all of these things can get really confusing. So, and if your parents dealt with that in stop whining, suck it up, be a man, or whatever that you were told, like, don't deal with this. Don't do that to this part of you. We got to be better. We've got to learn how to be super good parents and say, you know what? I'm not here to scold you. I'm not here to control you. I'm not here to emotionally manipulate you with shame and guilt. I'm here to listen to you. I'm here to be here for you. I'm here to help you relax about things. I'm here to help you feel safe, unconditionally loved, unconditionally accepted, no matter what you do. I'm here to provide that for you. So that is what this one means. So how can I help you? So there are several things that you can do to continue on with what we've been talking about today. So it's, we got to get a plan here. So you've listened to this today and you're like, yes, Angie, I hear what you're saying. I don't grasp it all yet, but it sounds like a good plan and I want to continue with this. So if you're here listening how to educate yourself on self-love or how to care for your mind, it's time to take one more step further and commit to doing this for yourself. So I have several things that you can do. The first thing I want to talk to you about, and it's not on here, but I am associated with a wonderful company called PH360, and they have offered to my Tiny Mind Club members to have a lifetime membership of Shay and PH360 lifetime, not like for a month, not for like your whole entire life, which means anything that they do, and they're constantly adding updates. They're constantly making their program better. They're constantly listening to people and what they need and what they want to experience in this online healthcare tool. And this is PH360, if you don't know, is all about, it's basically your health in a box. They take in all this information about you, this genetic information. You take a few measurements, takes about 30 minutes. You put in some information about your ancestry. They ask different questions, your hair color, your eye color, all of these different points of information about you, and it all gets calculated in there, and they shoot out this handbook of how to care for your body the exact way it's made, the way your parents and their two genes came together and made you, and here's your handbook. So that is basically PH360 in a nutshell. So they have offered my Tiny Mind Club members to have this tool for life. So anything that I do is all about, having a better life experience, and I go about it through the mind. But I also know that this is so related to your body and how if we're not putting in the right foods into our body, it gets our body chemistry all out of whack, and that impacts your mind, especially refined sugars, like any unnatural sugar that's going in, that really has a big impact on your mind. So this system is to help you know how to care for yourself, not just physically, like not just with your foods, but also your exercise, your environment, like what kind of environment that you're supposed to live in that won't stress your body out. Even if like you need a windy place, a dry climate, a wet, like all of that, like it's incredible the amount of information that they give. And your social, like if it's going to stress you out to be in a big crowd of people, who you should hang out with, who you should not hang out with. Like it gets really down to detail about your lifestyle, about your food, about your movement. And once you start to learn about how you're made and how your mind thinks, some of the things that you've been doing naturally that you were judged for, that you thought something was wrong with you, you're going to learn that that's actually normal for you. There is nothing wrong with you. It gives you permission to be yourself, which like goes a long way to clearing up this DJ, because all DJ ever wanted was just to be seen as okay. And once it starts to understand, oh, I was okay, I was just raised by a group of people who weren't what I am physical wise. They don't look like I do. I mean, I felt like I was dropped in, like who? I mean, how am I even in this family? So you may have felt like so on the outside all of your life, and just this knowledge in and of itself can clear that thing off your hard drive. So I love to use tools, anything like that, that can help us live our best lives and give us the freedom to be ourselves. And PH360 is definitely at the top of the game in that. So today, we are not only offering it to the Tidy Mind Club members, we are offering it to anyone listening to the webinar, which I want to thank PH360. That's incredibly generous of them to give this to my listeners, because that's a lot. So this is normally $9.97 for a lifetime membership, and they're giving it to you for $197, I believe. If that is incorrect, somebody in support can type that in and let you know exactly what that is, and we'll give you the links that you can go ahead and take advantage of that. It also comes with a Shay app that goes along with it, which is incredible. You just download that on your phone, and you use your same login details that you used when you signed up for PH360, and you can take it to the grocery store with you, to the gym with you, out in, well, if we ever get to go to gyms and out into public, but it can give you a lot of information to help you with your grocery shopping. You can use it at home for your exercises. Lots and lots of benefits to using Shay. That is the name of the app. And also you can now, you can have the Tidy Mind content that I use in the Tidy Mind Club. They go through a 30-day course. And now I am used to, you could only get this if you joined us and went through it with us each day in the Tidy Mind Club. So now I'm offering it to people who are not in the club, but you just want to do it on your own, and you just get the content. The Tidy Mind Club, they get live weekly calls like this one. They get a lot of bonus features. They get bonus courses. They get a lot of perks from being in the club, as you would in any club. But we have separated out just the content to offer to anyone who just wants to go through the content. So if you want to learn more about what we talked about today and take the next 30 days, or you can stretch it out. Once you purchase it, it is yours for life. And you can take your time with it and work through the processes and really learn how to care for your mind. So I encourage you, if you're not in the Tidy Mind Club, but you're interested, maybe you've been listening to somebody in your family is in the club and they're talking about this content that they've been doing every day, and you just want to do that, go ahead. We'll put the links in there, and you can go ahead and get started in the Tidy Mind School with the Tidy Mind course. And also there is private sessions with me. So if you, my Tidy Mind Club members, as a perk, they get a discount for sessions. And if you are not in the club, you can also get private sessions with me. And that is for when you've listened to me today and you're like, I don't know if I can do this by myself quite yet. I need some coaching. I need somebody to help me work through. Maybe I went through some traumas. Maybe I went through some really hard things, and I need some extra help. So I'm there for that as well. So those are some ways that I can help you guys. I'm going to stop sharing my screen now. And let's see. Oh, wow. Let's see. Oh, I'm right on an hour. I didn't go over, I don't think. But I would love to just take about 15 minutes. And if anybody here has a question, I would love to answer those. You can raise your hand if you're in the webinar. You can just raise your hand, and then I can click on it, and then you can talk, and I can talk back to you. And if you're watching on, I'm not sure, let me check and see if we got on Facebook Live or not. And if you're on Facebook, you can just type your question into the comment. So I'll just wait just a second and see if anybody wants to ask a question. You may even be able to type your question into the chat box if you can't figure out how to raise your hand. Anybody out there? We'll wait just a couple more seconds. Okay, well, if you think of something later, if you're watching this and you're watching the replay and you think of a question, please type it into the comments and I will make sure to either answer that. And I love your questions because it gives me talking points to know what you're wanting to know more about. And I can make audios on that to share with you guys in the group. So yes, I have one that's thank you for doing this today. No question, just that I see I'm running by doing all of those things you mentioned, massage, etc. Yes. Yeah, from Julie. Thank you, Julie. Yeah. Yes, we can definitely. We think we're helping ourselves and we've still got that mind in there that needs more. It needs more than that. The beautiful thing is that once we do get to a point, if you're doing the 30-day, the course content, once you get to a certain point, your mind becomes quiet. That's when I want you to go get the massage. I'm not saying don't, well, you can't now, but when life is back to normal, get a massage or go to a spa or sit in a hot bath or whatever, and just notice how much more you're able to take that in. Oh, thank you, Sarah. Thank you for being here with us. And I know one of the things I used to get so mad about myself when I was first starting this process, I hadn't learned how to calm and relax my mind yet. But one of my self-care things that I used to do is I would go out for a walk in the woods and I would be like, okay. And I was wanting to be able to have an experience of really taking in nature, being quiet inside my mind, really just being with what was in front of me. And I would get so mad at my DJ. I would get so mad at my own mind because it wouldn't allow me to do it. And I was like, I'm missing something here. Like, I know what I'm supposed to be able to do because I've been reading all the spiritual help, self-help books. I know what it's supposed to look like when I'm there, but apparently I can't do this yet, and I don't know why. And I'd get so frustrated with that part. And this was the missing link. This was the thing that I didn't know I was supposed to do yet, much less know how to do it. So once I learned that, now I can actually, if my mind's quiet, like if I've taken care of my mind that day and I've it's calm and relaxed, then I can go out in the woods and I can just be with nature. And it's not like this kind of moment, but it's nice and I enjoy it and it's quiet. So a lot of times we put some big expectations on what your meditation is supposed to look like or what your walk in the woods is supposed to look like. And it actually isn't that. That's just your mind's idea of what that a successful thing looks like. Let me look here. I got a little red thing here. All right. So I think that's it. I think that's it for me. Thank you all so much for taking the time out of your day to be here with me and listen to me talk about self-love, finding peace, and what was the last thing? Mind care. Thank you all. Everyone have a great night. And thank you, Nancy. I see your message right here at the end. And I'm so glad that you're finding that your mind is much calmer. So everyone have a wonderful night, and I'll see you next time.